Good morning, everybody. My name is Kimberly, and welcome to Infinite Spark Coaching and my YouTube channel. I am basically just getting content out right now, and they're going to be readings. I've got ideas that I've put together, and this is just basically going to be trial runs at first, because I have so many tarot decks and oracle decks. It's impossible for me to memorize all the meanings. So when I do a reading for the specific type of reading I'm doing that day, I will be using the book. I have very limited space, so really all you're going to get to see is the top of my desk right now. That way you can see the cards. But every day I am going to do something first thing in the morning. Today is Tuesday, February 10th, and I had to get a lot of stuff set up before I could even do a recording today. So it's a little late. Tomorrow I'll try to be earlier. But every day, I'm just looking at my notes. Every day I am going to do something that I'm going to call the Frequency Directive, because I'm going to be doing it typically in the morning, first thing when I get up, when I'm preparing for my day, before I meditate, sort of in the midst of my morning ritual before I do everything. So the focus is basically, for the Frequency Directive, it is pure energy, present moment resonance. And I have a lot of decks to choose from, but today I am going to draw a card from, hang on, hope that focuses, Eckhart Tolle's Present Moment Reminder deck. If any of you have read Eckhart Tolle's material, you know he's all about the presence of now. And I think we honestly have to deal with life that way. But what I want to do is use these cards as a way to remind everybody what it means to be present. And so I'm going to shuffle the deck, because I haven't done that yet. And I'm going to draw a card. And there's a picture on the front, and there is a message on the back. Rather fitting picture, considering I happen to live in Vancouver, British Columbia. Okay, I live in a suburb, but this is the picture. Isn't that beautiful? Eckhart actually lives in Vancouver as well, but he travels a lot, so I don't think he's home a lot. I haven't seen him on the streets. Kind of keeps to himself when he's not teaching and stuff, but that's the picture. And here's what it says. If you are sufficiently present, you will be able to identify the mind pattern of useless complaining, recognize its futility, and then drop it. You may have to do this many times before the pattern dissolves. Complaining strengthens your ego and deprives you of your power. So essentially, it's what he's asking you to do is to remind yourself that essentially repeating thoughts are ways for your ego to be in control and not be present. Being present means you're in awareness. And that is one thing that I do hope that possibly I can help you with, because I do have some readings that will lead to dealing with the energy and frequency of the current moment. So hence why we're going to get to the reading I'm doing now. which I'm calling this the Sovereign Soul. This is about your individual power, your boundaries, and yourself. I have a number of decks for this particular reading that I can use. So I have the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. I was drawn to use that one. And I was also drawn to use, and I really only have 3 decks for this, so we could choose a card from each deck. I have this one, Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians. Sorry, that's a bad angle. I'll get better at this. And then I also have the Carolyn Miss archetype deck. And so what my plan is when I do these readings every day is to pick up on the energy of what the collective is out there. And hopefully bring you some sense of peace and calm. These are going to be daily readings, and then this Frequency Directive. And then every day during the week, I'll be doing a different type of reading because I have so many decks. So Tuesday, this is the Sovereign Soul. Wednesday, I will do another one for the present moment or the frequency of the day. And Wednesdays will be the soul of the collective reading, sort of what the universal energy is that I pick up. And so let's do our Sovereign Soul for today. And let's start with the Sacred Symbols. Now, as I said, I have not used any of these decks, and some I have. It's just been a very long time. So we're going to do as I said. It's impossible for me to remember every single card meaning, etc. So let's just go through this, see what the sacred symbol or the energy of today for yourself that you need to, need to embody. So we're going to do, that is a rather appropriate card. The energy of good fortune. Let me just hold that up a bit. Can you see that? The energy of good fortune. So let's see what the card book says. Oh, interesting. This is quite a short information description. I have many other decks. You'll see eventually. Some of them are beautiful cards, but they have an extremely deep meaning. But this being said, because I have not used this deck before, I think it's good for both of us to understand what this card means. I'm going to turn it facing towards you. No matter what your query is, so no matter what you would like to know today, maybe hold space for the energy of this card and ask yourself, what do I need to know today about fortune, about good fortune? And it says it's a powerful time for manifesting. So ask now for what you want more of in your life and know that it is granted. Acknowledge that the blessings that you already have in your life, and more will appear. This is the pagan symbol for blessings and good fortune. So I'm not going to be like the other manifestation coaches and tell you what works for you, but what I will tell you is this. Whatever manifesting practices you use, I ask that before you do them, that you take time to get into the infinite space within yourself. That calm space where you resonate with the divine within you and your higher self before you recite any affirmations, before you do any scripting or anything. And live from that. Be present. Live from that energy today. And know and trust that what is meant for you today in terms of manifesting, no matter how small, will appear. And it's 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's probably a little late for you. Well, it is where I am, where I live in Vancouver, BC, but it might be a little late for you when you're watching this. So if you've already started your day, that's fine. If you're seeing this now, or you're seeing this tomorrow, or whenever you see this video, know that the energy of good fortune is with you, but you need to embody your higher self and your divine self and remain present and take nothing for granted. And in the morning, I want you to get up, because I do this every morning. Before I even do any, anything, before I do any stretching, before I do any having my lemon electrolyte water that I make, before I even have my first, we'll call it pre-meditation coffee latte blend. And I'll tell you more about that another time. When you wake up, before you even get out of bed, sit on the side of your bed, place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and know that you are safe. And repeat to yourself only once or 3 times. 3 is a magic number in manifesting. I align with my highest self, and I honor and nurture my temple. I align with my highest self, and I honor and nurture my temple. I align with my highest self, and I honor and nurture my temple. And being that we're going to carry on with the other 2 cards, we're going to do and see what the archetype energy is for the day, that you can learn to embody. And if you're not familiar with archetypes, it's based on Carl Jung, that we all have various, I guess you could say, personality traits, both male and female, and this deck is absolutely huge, so I don't know how I'm going to shuffle it. So we're going to do this. We're going to split the deck. And then we're going to stack it. And then, like, honestly, I mean, I have large hands, but this deck, okay, it's not so bad. But I'm going to shuffle, and then I'm going to spread it out a little bit. And there is a book in here, and essentially archetypes have been around since at least the time of Plato. I'm reading from the book, by the way, who referred to pre-existing ideal templates as forms. Plato believed that these eternal forms were reflected in material objects. The form of beauty, for example, is abstract and applies to all beautiful things. As different as the individual manifestation of beauty may be, a beautiful person, a horse, or a flower, the form itself never changes. Other philosophers referred to the concept in passing, but it was the 20th century visionary Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, who I love his descriptions of archetypes, the anima and the animus, which is the inner divine masculine and the inner divine feminine. He brought the map of archetypes into modern consciousness. In essence, most archetypes are psychological patterns derived from historical roles in life, such as mother, child, trickster, prostitute, and servant. They can also be universal events or situations, such as initiation or death or rebirth. And along with our individual personal unconsciousness, which is unique to each of us, Jung believed that there exists a second psychic system of a collective and universal impersonal nature that is identical in all individuals. This collective unconsciousness, as he called it, is inherited rather than developed. It is comprised and composed largely of archetypal figures and mythological figures. Although archetypes are both ancient and universal, they become personalized when they're a part of your own psyche. And if you've read her book, The Sacred Contract, she says, the agreements you made before you were born, so before you incarnated into this life and any other lives prior to this, you're born to learn certain lessons and work with certain people, and it's embodied in a support system of 12 archetypes. Because this group of 12 patterns of behavior is unique to you, you should think of them as intimate companions. And they provide the foundation for your personality, your drives, your feelings, your beliefs, your motivations, your actions, and anything else related to that. Archetypes are not passive entities floating around in the collective unconsciousness, and they're not floating around in your psyche like old family portraits hanging in a dusty castle. They take an active role as guardians and inner allies, awakening you when you're in danger of falling into destructive patterns and behavior. The saboteur, for instance, comes into play when you're in a situation in which you tend to sabotage your own interests, procrastination, etc., or allow others to sabotage you. And when you recognize such a pattern, instead of ignoring it or deepening its presence or denying it its presence, it becomes your friend and helper. All archetypes have a shadow manifestation as well as a positive light manifestation. The rebel, for instance, can be a powerful force leading you to reject illegitimate authority and strike out on a bold new path of action. But if you let your awareness lapse, its shadow aspect can induce you to rebel against constructive, positive leaders or to fall in love with the image and trappings of rebellion. Likewise, the Queen can guide you to assert your power, take charge of any situation, and delegate authority and act with regal benevolence. But the Shadow Queen may run around barking out orders, making impossible demands, and lopping off heads. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw a card, and we'll see how it's meant to manifest in the energy around you today. So I'm going to choose. These are very new cards. I haven't used them before. Well, this is interesting. And they are beautiful cards. Look at this. This is the Thief archetype. And as it says here, the light attribute sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Now, if you saw the earlier part of the video, you know that today is a day of good fortune. The shadow attribute, stealing money, creative ideas, stealing affection or other powers from other people that you think that you lack. Now let's see what the book says. Thief, swindler, con artist, Robin Hood. Should be evaluated from its symbolic meaning in the emotional and intellectual arenas, including plagiarism, stealing ideas, and even stealing affection. This card implies the need to earn self-respect by taking what is not yours, because you lack the ability to provide for yourself. This prods you. This card is to prod you to learn to generate power from within by alerting you when you're in danger of losing faith in yourself. The shadow thief doesn't steal out of actual need, such as starvation, but out of a perceived need, shoplifting items that one can afford to buy, just doesn't. Look for patterns today of trying to expropriate or take things from others, materially, emotionally, intellectually. Be present and realize that this in itself, while not negative, if you don't watch yourself and you're not aware of your actions, your thoughts, and your beliefs about what you feel you deserve, getting back to the manifestation, this is asking you to operate from worthiness. Knowing that you can have what you want, you don't have to take it from someone else. Because that only depletes them, and that's not healthy. And let's also look at these. Let's see what the goddess, gods, or guardians come up today for us. And these are beautiful cards. These are a little easier to handle. Spirit, I call on the goddesses, guardians, and gods of the universal collective. What message do you have for us today? And this card started to fall out of the deck. We receive your wisdom with an open heart. Thank you for revealing the sacred truths that illuminate the soul's path. And what was I just talking about? Balance. This is Maulisa about balance. So let's Center your energy. Seek harmony and cooperation. Sorry, that was upside down. Maulisa is a supreme being with origins in the ancient West African kingdom of Dahomey, and is neither male nor female. Legend says that in the beginning, everything there was, Maulisa had two faces. Mau, a woman, is the female side of God, and her eyes are the moon. Lisa, the male side of God, and his eyes are the sun. This androgynous deity remains and reminds us that balance is a central principle of the universe. Take a deep breath and come back to your center. You may feel scattered today, pulled in every direction. Visualize your energies being gathered back to you. You need peace and personal balance. Stabilizing your energy to avoid becoming overwhelmed and burned out. Maulisa represents equilibrium and peacekeeping and moderation. They deliver a message to you to remain calm and composed, even in extreme situations. It's not healthy for you or your nervous system to be perpetually in flight or fight or firefighter mode, nor is it sustainable. Believe me, I understand this very well. Don't add fuel to the fire. Consider everyone's point of view and make a balanced and fair assessment. Cooperate and have harmony are key principles of this card. So be inclusive and work together. It could be that unchecked egos, dramas, and gossip are at play. And if you're being distracted or pulled off center by energy sapping or toxic situations, both in the real world and online, aka doom scrolling, or allowing yourself to get caught up in that, make a conscious effort to create distance. Don't allow yourself to be energetically or emotionally drained, and protect your inner balance, as from this calm and harmonizing state, you'll be stronger and wiser. Tomorrow, I will have this video earlier, and I will go over again at that time what reading we'll be doing. Just to remind you, tomorrow is Wednesday, so it will be the Soul of the Collective. Spirit Work, Internal Truth. I have several decks there. I don't think I'll read them all because it'd be quite long, on top of the daily reading. So I will leave it at that, and I wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.